It's pretty well known by now that I have a weakness for the music of French composer Maurice Ravel. I even belong to an international group, Les Amis de Maurice Ravel, the Friends of Maurice Ravel. The group announced several years ago that one of our members, pianist François Dumont, had just released the complete piano music of Ravel on CD. I've heard lots of these, and I'm extremely hard to please where Ravel is concerned, so I was skeptical. Nonetheless, I bought this 2-CD set and started listening. Within only a few minutes, I could hear that François understood this music completely. I was so excited by it that I contacted him through the group and asked him point blank if he'd like to record an album together. He agreed without hesitation, and after a couple of recitals in France, we both went to Wales to make a CD that came to be called In the Time of Ravel for the Nimbus label. It did very well, and we have since made another In the Time of Debussy. Our Redlands recital will include music from both of our albums, and it will be a happy reunion for the two of us. There was for many, many years in Paris a world-famous conductor and teacher of music named Lili Boulanger. I remember that she was still active when I lived there for a year in the early 1970s. Mademoiselle, as she insisted on being called, taught composers from all over the world, including Americans Aaron Copland, Leonard Bernstein, and Elliott Carter. Until recently, it was largely forgotten that she had a younger sister, Lili Boulanger, a gifted composer whose life was cut short in her early 20s by tuberculosis. Her small but rich catalog of works is now being rediscovered, and one of the most often played is Matin de printemps, of a spring morning. It was originally written for full orchestra, but the composer herself made this arrangement of it for flute and piano. It is a brief, exciting, electric work. In 1897, Maurice Ravel was still a student and still finding his unique voice as a composer. He started a violin sonata that year, and it was played privately. Although he had planned at least one more movement, he never completed it. It lay in manuscript, forgotten until it was finally published in 1975. Since he wrote a later sonata for violin that's often played, violinists almost never touch this one. So François and I have co-opted it for the flute. I like this piece because it shows the germ of what would become Ravel's future sound. In 1913, Claude Debussy was approached to write incidental music for the play Psyche by Maurice, and one of the works he supplied was a brief piece for solo flute, a very unusual choice at the time. The piece was immediately taken up by flutists around the world with the title Syrinx, referring to one of Zeus's daughters, who was pursued by the half-goat god Pan with his flute. The work proved so popular with audiences that it established a new genre of works for flute alone, which continues unabated to this day. I've chosen 3 French solo flute works from different decades that I like to play as a group. First by Jean Rivier, Oiseaux, tendres, tender or sweet birds, then Debussy Syrinx, and then André Jolivet's Ascèse No. 1, That the secret may live, we shall quiet ourselves to silence. Upon hearing Gabriel Fauré's violin sonata in A major for the first time, composer Camille Saint-Saëns reacted rhapsodically. He said, "In this sonata you can find everything to tempt a gourmet: new forms, excellent modulations, unusual tone colors, and the use of unusual rhythms. A magic floats above everything, encompassing the whole work, causing the crowd of usual listeners to accept the unimagined audacity as something quite normal. With this work, Monsieur Fauré takes his place among the masters." High praise indeed from one of the best composers France ever produced. Fauré himself said that his music displayed, quote, the eminently French qualities of taste, clarity, and sense of proportion. The work was triumphantly received at its premiere in 1876, and Fauré played the piano part himself. He was a great pianist, and this undoubtedly accounts for the excellent but terribly difficult piano writing. Despite the huge success, his attempts to publish it were denied. Finally, he was forced to accept a contract with one of the large German publishing houses, which took the copyright from the composer and paid him no royalties at all. This unfortunate story was all too common at the time, made more so in Fauré's case by the fact that this sonata has become his most often played chamber work. The piece is magnificent in every way, so much so that it easily accommodates a transcription for flute and piano. It is frankly a joy for Francois and me to play it for you.